What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog, author of the Smartphone Millionaire book, How to Invest in Businesses, People, and Real Estate from the Palm of Your Hand. More than ever, we need creative financing, and I want to thank each and every one of you who purchased this book this year. You made this year fantastic, and when Volume 2 comes out, those of you who's purchased, I'll make sure to look out for you guys. So you know who I've got on the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. Mr. Charles Ogilvy, Mr. Todd Milley, Mr. Todd Capital, Todd Capital Tax, Todd Capital Booking, Todd Capital LLCs. Nah. What's funny is somebody was saying Todd Milley, like it was your real name in the show. That was the funny part. And somebody was like, Todd who? And they're like, oh, Charles. So I think that's hilarious because it's just synonymous at this point. So Charles,
that's a point to make right there. It's so cool because the things you name yourself, you start to kind of walk into.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think, and then like Anita was all like, "I created a monster." Todd Milley.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you guys, thanks for coming in. Again, you know how to do. Hit the like button when you come in. Drop your city and state because we're round 2 tonight. So what is good? So give us a cap off of what you're grateful for this year and what you're hoping for next year.
Man, this year was definitely amazing. I kind of lose track of what was the beginning of the year, what was the end of the year, which has been taking so much action. But I would just say I'm just grateful for things coming to fruition. There are a lot of ideas that we started out with that are now coming to fruition. And one of the things I always tell people is that there's some opportunities that you can't even get to until you start taking action. And so just like 2 weeks ago, I got hit up by somebody who has like 250 investors that want to invest $2,500 a piece. And so I did the math. I was like, how much money is that? And it's like $600,000. And these are opportunities that I wouldn't have stepped into if I wouldn't have just started getting the ball rolling. And so we started what we had. We started with a zero budget, and now we're building in a budget. Now we're building in more property. Now we're building in a more faithful base. Now we're building more systems. So I would just say, there's so much that I can be thankful for. Things coming to fruition is definitely one.
Speak a little louder, Todd.
Oh,
you have the,
sorry.
you have whenever you have the earbuds on, remember you got to speak louder. Like
You're right.
Then
Hey, let me get my other headset.
Yeah. So I always, sorry, you guys. He's gonna fix it. Give me a second, Mrs. Love Jones. I'm reading your comments. We got you. While we're waiting on Todd Milley, aka Charles Ogilvy, to put his new headset on, I'm gonna read over. I thank y'all for telling me we're gonna fix it. We've got London, England in the building. We've got Charlotte. We've got New Jersey. We got Kansas City, Memphis, Raleigh, California. We got Newport News, Virginia. And make sure you guys hit the like button as you come in. And when Todd puts his new headset on, make sure you put a 1 in the comments if you can hear him. So this way we know we got good audio.
That should work.
Yes. Got you more. Houston in the building, Metro Detroit, Cali back in the house, Charlotte, Huntsville, Alabama. Listen, Huntsville, Alabama, Mr. King, you might need to message me. I saw the show Love and Real Estate down there in Huntsville, and when I was in Birmingham, Huntsville was a great place to invest. So Fairfield, California, Nashville, Tennessee. Yep, everybody said they can hear you now. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear Charles. Charles, say something so they can make sure they hear you.
Hello.
All right, New Orleans, Charlotte in the building. Okay. So you just said, repeat that last part where you said there was 200 people with 2,500?
Yeah, so there's so much power in the 10X rule. And it's so funny because I saw when Money Made It was on here, you guys were talking about 10X. And so basically, like, everything that I've done has brought opportunities my way in so many different forms. The consulting's brought opportunities. The real estate's brought opportunities. Investment clubs brought opportunities. Podcasts have brought opportunities. Blog has brought opportunities. And so somebody that I worked with on the podcast, they have their own pool of people that they didn't know how to kind of put into different opportunities. And so they came to me and they said, hey, we have like 2,500 people that want to invest in real estate, and they all have at least 2,500. And so I did the math and I was like, that's 600 grand. And that's something that I wouldn't have had if I just stayed back and did nothing and then say, you know what, as soon as I get those 2,500 people, as soon as I get those 250 people. And so like for me, like every time somebody talks to me, they say, hey, I want to get started. The answer is just get started. Get fancy later. Wrap your systems, your perfection around it. You don't need all the answers now. If you don't have an LLC, just get started. If you don't have business credit, just get started. Because what will happen is, I mean, even with me, like I'm still getting business credit situated. And I just started off with like a little small credit card. And now they're offering me bigger credit cards. And then soon they're going to offer me even bigger credit cards. So it's like, there's a
hit them every 90 days. Back.
There's a process of evolving that people have to go through just that comes by taking action, that you're going to learn different things. If you don't have all the answers, it's probably because you're not taking enough action. So for me, I'm just grateful that the things that I set out to do are actually coming to fruition, which then makes me want to set even bigger goals going forward to see what else can come to fruition.
And this is a big part of like people, they don't want to look bad on the internet. They don't want to fail. And honestly, failure is the growth. This is the 10X really theory, is like pushing, and knowing where your limits are, right? You wouldn't know your limits on taking money via PayPal or Cash App or all these different things, these portals, if it wasn't for, trial and error. And even with Money Mandu having this property, he's like, oh yeah, look at this easy money. And then you have this hiccup in the road. Now he knows the price of things. Now he knows how to price things out, how to, vet, contractors. He's more people he can talk to now because he has something under his belt. And I think people in our society are trying to avoid failure or anything that looks like possible failure. And that's the worst. That right. makes, you see it all over the place.
We're trying to avoid failure, and then we want it quick. So it's like, you don't want to make any mistakes, and then you also want to make money in that first deal, the next 6 months. And so what Maydu went through is exactly what we've gone through. Our first deal is less profitable than we'd have liked. And so what people don't realize is that just makes you that much more sharp. I look at things, once you feel the burn of real life, like money going out of your pocket, or real life, the pressure that you have to get through something, it makes you a stronger negotiator. Because then you're not negotiating in theory. You're like, no, I can't pay you more than this because I know how much it's going to cost in the back end. And that's a lot stronger of a negotiating piece than I read in the book, it should be at 75%, and this isn't here. And so then you can beat them back, because a lot of times you have to beat back sellers with logic. You have to beat back with what the numbers really look like. The ARV doesn't make sense. You're saying the ARV is X, but we know it's not, because it's not a brick house. It's this small. It's this. And that makes you a better negotiator, makes you a better investor by going through real life things, which ultimately makes you more money down the line. So I think that people shouldn't shy away from making those mistakes. They shouldn't shy away from perfection and just get in the game.
For sure. Listen, Trucker Maven, thank you already for super chatting the show. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Listen, you guys, if you like the content produced today or tonight or anytime, definitely drop some dollars. Thank you for supporting the channel. So your baby is called Todd Capital, and really, it's not just your baby; it's all our babies.
Right.
I'm waiting on my shirt. I put my size in and everything. Wear my shirt, Todd. Now.
we have the Come to Todd Capital shirt, which I don't know if you can see right there.
Yeah, we can see it.
We got that one coming, and I also have another one that's black that says Todd Capital across the front. That's coming. Working on hats, working on more polos.
I need the professional polo when I go out golfing out here.
That's what's gonna happen then. I like it.
What's up, Andre Hatchett? So yeah, I go and hit. So if you guys don't know, you see me wear the shirts, and I want to thank all of you for buying the shirts. There's been thousands of you, actually 1,000 of you buying the shirts. We're gonna say stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So many people, whether I'm in the airport, whether I'm in the store, whether I'm grocery shopping, and getting a gas in the car, will stop me and talk to me about that shirt. So I am a big proponent of t-shirts doing the talking for you. Hood Estates, Nina, all these people, when they wear those shirts, they get tons of leads a day. So I'm not saying be like me and oh, Erica, I'm not a t-shirt girl. Listen, I'm wearing a dress right now. But when I'm out in the daytime hours or I go golfing, I try to find a shirt that will strike up conversation. And I'm going to say this, and this is as unbiased as I can say it. I'm a brown lady with big curly hair, red lipstick, wearing a stocks, bond, and mutual fund shirt. Somebody who is white and be like, what? Wait a minute. And you'll be amazed at the actual people who will stop and turn around and go, what company do you work for? Who's your brokerage? Who's your this? Here's my card. I work with Edward Jones. Here's my investment firm. Just off that shirt. So If you have a company, put that shirt on. I think it's one of the best ways, especially Lowe's, Home Depot. If you're a contractor, people will take a picture of your shirt and call you later, but don't have time to stop and talk to you. It's just my 2 cents on shirts. But, so out of this year, what is a humble brag? I want all my guests to come on and humble brag a little bit. I tried to twist Nina to do it. I tried to get Money Mandu to do it. Everybody's like, well, it was okay. Like, and I'm okay with that because I think there is a pride in doing something different than what other people are doing. And people sometimes, especially African American community, it's like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. What is that? What is this? When you're successful, I think you should be able to speak openly about being successful. So what does a humble brag for Charles Olgesby look like this year?
Wow. I would say that out of all the things that we've done, my humble brag would just be the returns that I've personally seen in the stock market. And so my most memorable day was, and I had a lot of really good days this year, is the day that I bought some options going to sleep, like before the market closed. I forgot the trade. And I woke up and I made $5,200 in one day. And so that was probably my most impressive thing that happened. Despite all the other great things, the one thing I always tell people is when we first started doing the investment club, everybody said, like, why aren't you charging? Why aren't you charging? Why aren't you charging? You should be charging. And what I tell people is I became a better investor by putting my reputation on the line to invest for people, to say, hey, we're going to make money as a group in front of 200 people at the time. And so the money that I made was actually in the skill set that I learned, which really goes back to the beginning of the conversation. Like, your skills are worth more than money. If you are somebody who is riding on the back of an investment, if you're somebody who is being a passive investor, you're missing out on the most important part of the deal, which is the skill set. It's the pressure, it's the stress, it's the difficulties in pushing through. There's a time where we went through a situation where we lost a contractor, and I was distraught. We found a good guy, and so I was making a bunch of calls, getting a bunch of people to go out there and look at the property. And ultimately what happened is we found an even better contractor who was priced just as good but has higher quality work. But through that entire process, I was just super stressed out. But that stress is what created the progress. So, like, if you're not running to stress, if you're not running to difficulties, you're ultimately not going to get to the progress. So, my personal gains, my personal success has yielded from me being of service to other people. And that's kind of to demonstrate what I did. In the stock market alone, I'm up like crazy numbers. I want to say that for the year, it's like over 1,000% for the year, because what I was doing is I was buying options ahead of earnings, getting huge returns, and then flipping it right into another opportunity. So I would take those gains and I wouldn't go buy Gucci. I wouldn't go try to buy some ignorant stuff. I was even at a point where I was like, you know what, I could pay off my car, or I can use this money to make more money. And that just made way more sense. And so I used that money to just continue to flip, continue to double, and contribute to triple. And so it's kind of become a second source of income. It's a little bit difficult now with the way the market's going, because it's really, I have no idea where it's going. So, for me, I think that's a skill in itself. It's a skill to know when you don't want to be in the market. So, yeah, my humble brag is just that one day. But I'd had multiple $1,000 days throughout the year, very good days, and to the point where it's like I don't even want a $100 gain anymore. There was a point in my life where I just wanted a few $100 here or there. Now it's like, if it doesn't yield 1,000 or more, I don't want it. And that's definitely doable in options. If you get into options, or if you kind of do what I do, which is kind of swing trading, putting all your momentum into one stock instead of diversifying, which is what people sell you. They'll tell you to diversify. They'll tell you all that lazy person stuff, when the better thing to do is to just put all your energy in being right. So be right. Don't diversify and be lazy. It's kind of like what I would say.
All right, everybody. If you heard what just was said, drop a 1 in the comments if you understand. Because what you've noticed with the trend, Money Mandu, you've had Charles Olgesby. You also had Terry come on. Invest with Terry. I've been posting her links for y'all to check out her course to teach you how to swing trade and day trade. A lot of people are like, oh, she made $1,000 a day. Sometimes Terry makes $16,000 in a day. Sometimes Terry makes $16,000 in a week. Terry's traveling 9 different countries and trading from her phone. I'm just saying, skills pay the bills. And even if you were, and we talked about it on Terry's channel when we did the video with her, even if you did 100 a day, at the end of the year, that's an extra $48,000 a year. And that's from a skill, a part-time skill. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, like, I want everybody to get on that. I hope you're understanding it. And the fact that swing trading and options trading is something you can learn, but you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want them to feel like, oh, that's so foreign. That's crazy.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's something that I hear you mention on the you mention on the channel a lot, and it's not just skills in regards to investing in business. You always mention it in skills in regards to your job. Like, the skills are the most important thing. If you have those software skills, if you have the engineering skills, you have the coding skills, if you have all the different skills that even the Sub-Zero's on here talking about, skills are so important. So it's like, even if you have a trade, if you're a mason, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, like, skills are what we should be chasing, not necessarily just cash. Like, skills are going to make sure that you never are broke. Even if you do struggle, you're never broke. If you're without a job, you're never broke if you have a skill.
And the thing is, I did a course, and I want to add more to the course, but I talked about laptop to ATM. And I was like, if you have certain skills and you go out here on Indeed, you go out here on all these workforce little sites, you can get work all the time. You know, and I have a friend who's a mom of 4. She literally, that's all she does. She goes on there and gets jobs because she has skills. She don't want to go back to an office. She can go on there and do a couple jobs for a couple months, a couple of grand coming in her pocket and roll out, you know. And I think this is something people have to really have to listen and take it in it, like skill, like just when I tell Money Man do, yeah, there's a lot of guys with tools. There's a lot of guys who claim to be a contractor, but they're not. So if you're a guy who does good work, you stay busy. And I know people who make $500,000 a year just because they're that good. Their phone stays ringing. I know a guy that's not that good that we worked with before. He still makes $100,000 plus a year. He takes his time. He takes breaks. He does whatever he wants. But when you have a skill, you can determine your schedule and your life. And I want, out of all this uncertainty with the market or anything, any kind of recession, any kind of anything, it doesn't matter. If you have skills, skills get paid. Good times, bad times, skills get paid. So I just want to say thank you again, Cal Phillips, for the $4.99 super chat. He said, appreciate the free knowledge. Somebody said, have you ever had a bad day in the market?
Absolutely. I've definitely had some bad days in the market. Those bad days teach you a lot. One thing I've learned is that usually when I have a bad day, it's because I went away from my principles, or I didn't learn a new principle that I needed to learn. And so, for example, I want to say I bought something like Funko before earnings. And so Funko is not a company that I learned. It's not a company that I follow. It's not a company that I really even care to like know much about. It's like, it's not a strong company. It's not a good company that I like, that's changing the world, that has good earnings, it has good growth, it has a good brand. And I bought it because I was under the impression that, hey, if it pops, I can make a lot of money. If it loses, I might lose $1,000 or whatever, how much I put into it. So I bought that. Might have bought something else that I didn't really follow that much, and I lost my money. And from that, I learned a principle, and I said, like, I don't ever buy the options of a stock that I wouldn't own the actual stock. So I've had a lot of success when I bought a stock of a company that I bought the options of a company that I love. And so I would say that, like, losing and winning come with the territory. Your goal is just to win more than you lose. If you're only going to invest, if you're going to win, you're probably going to end up being one of those people that settle for like CDs or mutual funds or something that's guaranteed and easy. But if you want to get those outside returns, you're going to have to be willing to lose. No risk, no reward. So I definitely had some bad days, but my good days have far surpassed my bad days. And my bad days have taught me how to have even more good days.
Yeah, I people, as you know, I actually was a victim of a pump and dump scheme group and lost $4,000 in stock market and penny stocks in college. And I remember my professor being like, I taught y'all how to trade. I didn't teach y'all to stay in penny stocks. What y'all doing? So, I mean, the key here is learning and growing. And that was many years ago, but the key here is learning and growing. And somebody asked, what's your favorite options strategy, which I don't want to get too deep in the woods of stocks, but like just, you know, a couple questions here and there.
I'm actually not that advanced with options. We have a course with Wale, who is my partner on that side. He's doing a whole advanced options trading strategy. I typically just try to buy options ahead of earnings of companies that I love. So I'm not doing straddles. I'm not doing covered, any of that crazy stuff. I just typically either buy call options if it's going up, buy puts if I think it's going down. I typically don't even buy puts. The idea of betting on something going down is something I try to avoid. So I typically just go long calls. But this year, the goal is to become a little bit more sophisticated. And I made good money not even being that sophisticated in options. Like, I know the strategy. People start going and they do a lot of different things I'm not really that well versed in just yet.
That's good. Well, thank you for the honesty, for sure. So what are some things you've learned about long distance investing at this point? You know, over this year, over the you know, just in general, what are some things you've learned?
One of the most profound things that I heard about long distance real estate investing that I want a lot of people to understand, because we were just talking about stocks, is if you buy a stock, you don't drive over by their headquarters and check on your stock. You don't go and knock on the CEO's door and see if you can walk around his office and see how it looks. You just trust the stock is there doing what stocks are supposed to do, which is either appreciating value or pay you a dividend. Real estate is the same exact way. I think sometimes we have this block in our mind that says you have to live next to the real estate. You have to be able to go over there if there's a plumbing issue. And so what I realize is that long distance real estate is just investing. It's like Aisha Selden says, she says it's not real estate that's life, it's investment that's life. And so I think that it's easier than people would think, but I think that we have to kind of step away from this real estate in the sense of what a lot of people think it as, where it's just this. It's a building that you can go and you have to cut the lawn, you got to do all the maintenance, you got to do all that, you got to prepare the roof.
The toilets, you know, they love talking about the toilets.
Right.
I don't want to be dealing with plumbing.
Right. So there's a strategy for that, and I think that people are missing out, given the opportunities out there with technology to be making all the money they can be making. And for me, I was just that committed. I was that obsessed with getting into real estate that I wasn't going to let my location prevent me from getting into real estate. I had to go find the market that got me out there. It was going to allow me to get the rental income, which is what I wanted, the appreciation, which is what I wanted, but more so the rental income. And it's getting outside of the common knowledge of people that are out there. It's very difficult to make money investing if you only operate within the agreed upon norms of everybody who's around you.
Comfort zone.
Right.
A big thing I talk about is what opened my mindset to long distance investing is the fact that I'm a military kid. I've lived in Alaska, I lived in Alabama, I lived in Maryland, and I knew a lot of the military retirees you see that live a really good life, and I'm gonna be careful here, that live a good life, they have 1 or 2 properties in other states still, and they just rent those bad boys out. So then they get their pension, then they get a little disability, and they like, well, okay, keep it moving, right? And that's been a lot of people in my family, but also people picking up the cheap houses. So when people say, well, Erica, Detroit, oh my God, or different cities, I laugh because my cousin literally bought the house beside his mom for like $35,000. The house was worth $80,000, right? And it just was, the neighborhood had a lot of teenagers walking around, you know, they're like, oh, the gangs. So he literally bought every house around his mom. So that's why we always tell that story, because I'm like, you guys, don't believe the press. Look at the numbers. What are the numbers? And people will always need somewhere to live that's clean, safe, and functional, as Hood Estate says.
The crazy part about it is a lot of people don't realize that you don't want to buy the investment that everybody loves. Everybody who lost their money in the stock market recently was listening to the press. They were saying, oh, we're hitting new highs. Oh, this has happened. This is great. And then they're buying, and then they're losing. When I heard all that good news, that let me know I need to be out of the market. And I think that's one of the things a lot of people, before I really started investing seriously, I studied a lot of Warren Buffett. It's a strict Warren Buffett philosophy is you're greedy when they're fearful and fearful when they're greedy. And so when people are greedy in the stock market, I was taking gains. I was going in cash. Now that people are fearful in the market, I'm over here like, what can I buy? I'm like skating around there like, what can I buy? And the same thing is true with real estate. People will tell you that Detroit is a terrible market to invest in, but in 5 years,
while they're investing in it,
that, or they just might not know, because I've had some people, I think that's an important thing to understand is you have to take advice from people who are where you want to be. And so if they aren't, and they don't have what you want, I can't take advice from my uncle, even if he's like, even if he, I don't know, you have to take advice from people who are successful real estate investors in that market. And that's what I did. I didn't just take advice from people who were investing in Michigan or investing in California about if I should invest in Michigan. I went to a strictly Michigan real estate investors forum. I said, who out here is making money that wants to work with me? And I got a mentor. He owned 14 properties that are all cash flowing. And that's what I did. You don't just, the idea of investing is so broad, it's so vague, but you really have to niche yourself. You have to narrow yourself into that lane because there's so much misinformation out there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I think the big thing I was talking about on the show 2 days ago, who did I have on 2 days ago? I had somebody else on 2 days ago. Andre, or I had Nita on. I had Nita on, right, yesterday. And again, talking about the cash flow versus appreciation. A lot of people, I'm not talking smack about New York and California, but you know I do. They love talking about, man, look at all this appreciation in California, look at all this appreciation in New York. But the cash flow, they are like people in the negative out there. And there's people, you know, buying what looks shiny, what looks nice. And the key to actual freedom and actual growth of your business is the cash flow. Right? These people who have cash flow can actually make different choices. When you have these lower price homes, I remember this from 2008. It was on the Real Estate Guys show. Two of the guys who get ready to make the show, they said, what's going to happen in the recession? What are you going to do, man? He said, man, I'm going to buy up all the $50,000 homes I can and rent them out for $800. And everybody on the panel was laughing. But that was exactly what he ended up doing the next several years. He bought up maybe 100 homes in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact is, people, the simple, easy answer, people are like, oh, what? You know, the cheaper homes that you can invest is where you should invest in. So somebody asked the question. They said, I would like to invest $50 to $100 a week. What are some sites or apps that it could make that possible?
I would say the easiest and the most obvious place to start with is Robinhood. I like Robinhood because they're not going to churn you with fees. And so there are a lot of places out there. Well, there's so many ways. I mean, I think that's the best way to kind of preface this is it kind of goes back to the beginning of this conversation. Don't aim to get rich in the beginning. Aim to get the skills. And so that first year of investing, you can't say, oh, I need to maximize this $1,000. It's got to make me rich. You need to be out there investing, even if you're losing money, even if you're making bad trades, even if you're paying too much in commission, because all that's going to sharpen you. And so a lot of people, they want to avoid that cut. And it's like Eric Thomas says, it's like everybody wants to be a diamond, but they don't want to get cut. You got to get out there and get cut. And so, yeah, I would say like, oh, go Robinhood, because you can avoid the app fees. You can avoid the commission fees. But then there's stuff out there like Acorns. There's stuff out there like all these different sites that will actually invest on your behalf. And they're all good. What you have to do is you have to commit to the process of investing, not to the event of a capital gain or to the event of getting rich. It's a process. You have to ingest that process. You have to become an investor. It's like investing is a lifestyle. It's not an event. You don't just set it and wait. You buy, you study, you watch, you learn, you read, you talk to other investors, you buy more, you buy the dips, you buy the highs. You just learn like, okay, this is what I'm doing. You got to just embody investing. You can't just say like, I'm just going to do it. It's not a lottery ticket. It's a lifestyle. Like that's why you see wealthy investors. It's a lifestyle. That's why I always talk about frugality. It's a lifestyle. The more frugal you are, the more cash you have to invest continuously. There's always opportunities in the market. Imagine if you were locked up right now and the market's dipped and now you have no other money to put in. Now there's opportunities on the table. And if you didn't have any cash, now you're just going to be SOL. So you got to always have, like, it's a process. So I would say, like, yeah, the app, get out there, get you a Robinhood and buy an S&P index fund. Buy your index fund, start that way, watch how the market goes. Another strategy is to buy companies that you love. I always tell people, don't just buy what they're talking about on CNBC. Buy a company that you use. I'm in Starbucks right now. It wouldn't make sense for me not to own Starbucks stock. I want an Apple phone. It wouldn't make sense for me not to have an Apple phone. I have Apple EarPods, an Apple phone, an Apple iPad. I'm on an Apple computer. It just makes sense to buy Apple stock, even if they go through some troubles over the next quarter. You just got to ride it out because it's a long-term effect. Successful investors don't focus on the short-term gyrations of the market. They focus on the long-term trajectory of where the market's going to go.
Exactly. Everybody, did you hear all those gems? As Todd, what is this? You be saying dropping gems or dropping? I don't even know what he'd be saying. Like, that's a track or something. Sorry, you guys know I'm not a big rap person. I'm sorry. But Andre Hatcher was like the drip, 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 drip. I don't know what that means. Consistent and long term. Think long term. Notice the frame of mind. Andre also said, notice the frame of mind of him and Manny Madu. No rush. There's no rush. This is a lifestyle. Somebody said bombs, dropping bombs. Nice. Yeah. I mean, it really is. Trading, real estate, or any type of investing, get a mentor. Yes, Jabrass, exactly. Like he went and found a mentor in the marketplace where he wanted to go invest. That's the big takeaway here. Erica, somebody said, how do we invest into Todd's real estate fund? I'm already in the stocks. If are you already on the Todd Capital stock side? Answer the question and we can go into the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because people who, I just dropped a deal into the Todd Capital Investment Club or Todd Acquisitions kind of chat thread today. And so for a lot of people, they were wondering like, okay, I'm in the group, now what? And so I think they're starting to see how the process works now. And so it's one of those things where you kind of like, you figure it out as we do things. And so the way we're kind of formalizing it is we want you to come to the group chat so you can follow what's going on, where we're going, what we're buying. And then as you see something you like, you can participate in that opportunity. And so from there, what we're going to do is, this is way more than what we did last year. Now we have something called Stessa, which allows us to track everybody who's a part of the actual club. And so that's one of the things that it helps a lot. You can see the property, you can see what it's worth, you can see what the rents are, you can see the expenses for that property. And now what we're doing is we're creating project-specific entities. So each property that we buy is going to have its own LLC. So you're now a member of that LLC. And so then you'll be compensated as a member of that LLC. Tax returns come out, you get a K-1, all that good stuff. It'll show your income and your depreciation, all that good stuff. And so we're getting more polished as we do it because we're finding what's necessary. So I would say that the way that you do it is you email propertymanagement@capitaltodd.com. What they're going to do is they're going to give you a link to the group chat. From the group chat, then you get to start participating in the conversation. From that conversation, then we lead into actually buying deals. And so that's how that works.
Say it one more time. Membership at or property management at.
Right. So we just started doing this distinction. So for the stocks, it's going to be membership@capitaltodd.com. That's for stocks. And so Candace will take care of you on the stock side. And then for real estate, it's property management at capitaltodd.com. And Lance takes care of all of that.
Okay, so Andre Hatchett or any of the mods, if you could put that in there, that'd be so great. I appreciate it. Thank you, Doug, for the $5 super chat. Doug is one of the best moderators out here in the game. He moderates the O'Shea channels. God bless you, Doug. I know you be tired. So
O'Shea, man.
You know, you better get on there. He be looking for, he be shouting you out all the time. Like, Charles gonna come on my show. I was like, I ain't seen Charles come on the show. What's the other question I had? Oh, okay. So I always tell people this, and I think they tired of me saying it, but networking and team and collaboration is the theme for 2019. It just is. Like, what are your thoughts on collaborating?
I feel like it's essential. I feel like anything that you can do on your own gets enhanced with a team. So even if you're doing dope stuff, imagine if you have a collaboration like a Charm City Buyers and Hood Estates. Or for the example, you have Hood Estates and Cousin Nita doing a lot of collabs. Like, you can go so much further with collaboration than you can with by yourself. And what's really important, what I realized, is you're going to partner with somebody eventually. If you're doing a deal and you're getting bank financing, your bank is now a partner in that deal. And so what I realized is I'd rather have my community be the bank and my community profit in the way that the bank would, than me make the bank rich and myself rich. It's like, why not bring all that profit potential into your community? Because that's all a bank is. A bank is a crowdfund. A bank is a bunch of individual people who invested or saved their money in that account, in that bank, and they take that money and they lend it out. It's a crowdfund. I figured out that almost everything that you see in America is a crowdfund. The tax system is a crowdfund. They take a little bit of money from a lot of people. It's a big crowdfund. What else is a crowdfund? There's so many different things are crowdfunds. And so if we're not collaborating, we're losing by default. Like, you can't even win without collaboration, not to the level that a lot of us want to win on. And so I think that that's what's really important, because individually, like, if that person in that group in HBCU Wall Street comes to me and says, hey, I got $2,500, I'm like, we can mess with it. But when 250 of them come to us, there's nothing we can't do. And what's really important is we have to realize that who we're competing with and who we're going up against, they've already teamed up. And so it's like, we just got to get in the game. It's like the guy said on my podcast, he said, everybody else is playing basketball. We're out here in football pads talking about we want to play football. So it's like, that's just the game. The game is collaboration.
What's his name? What's that dude, Bryant? Whatever that Bryant dude is got cut. The dude, the Bryant that got cut.
Bryant. Yeah,
Des Bryant.
Right.
I'm out here wanting to be the star.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, and I think that's why I'm starting to open up more of my company and to give away equity within my company. Is like, I realize I can go so much further. I can't do everything by myself. There's only so many hours in the day. I'm not the smartest person in the room. So I need to collaborate with other smart, brilliant minds. And then we can all share a piece of this Todd Capital pie. And that's a big part of the reason why I wanted to do this. And I think that's a part of the reason why just like shares exist in general and the whole capitalistic system exists as a team sport. So I'm happy to see it happening. First, it was really cool just to see people thinking that way, because I think after the election, a lot of people started thinking more business and entrepreneurship and investing, which is great. It's exactly what I wanted to see. And now it's like, okay, how can we level up this business and entrepreneurship? Well, we can level it up with teamwork. So I'm excited. My goal is to just kind of see how I can leverage different partnerships. I'm always down to partner anybody, whoever. Like I'm not that.
Come on out to Texas. No, I'm just messing.
I mean, my goal is to like either merge or acquire my way to even get bigger. So it's like if I can have like somebody has a consulting company and we can work together, we can co-brand. Like why not? It's only going to create that. It's like the mastermind concept. He says when you mastermind, you create that separate individual that didn't exist before. So 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2. 1 and 1 actually equals 3. And so we're missing out on that third person. And imagine you have 10 and 10, and now you have 30 people. We got to start building that extra person through teamwork.
So there's several quotes that come to my mind that I say all the time on the channel, probably getting on their nerves. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go as a group. And what people want to do is they want to get fast. They want to get flashy. They want the Lambo. They want to be renting cars. They want to take pictures of credit cards all over the table. And I'm like, but you could go further if you just partner up with everybody and keep put like even today when Charles posted the deal, I was like, all right, just tell me when to send the money. Okay. Just like I'm doing a lot over here. Just, you know, I trust your judgment. There's like 27 eyes on it. Check it out. Let me know. And I can send the money. And I think that makes it easier because a lot of people are sitting here trying to, you know, look over 37 deals at one time and you're only one person. So what's even funny as I'm talking about collaboration right now, I just got a text from someone in Nashville saying, hey, come out to Nashville. We're going to do a seminar talking about getting some more money and funds. So I think people will sleep on the collaboration effect because this guy is, let's just be clear. This guy's a millionaire and I've just been commenting for a year on his post and in messaging him. And he sent me a specialized text message like, and hey, you can call me at this cell phone anytime you want. So I think what people don't understand is that's the power. Connecting with people is the power. 1 and 1 doesn't make 2. It makes like 10x for real though.
It really does.
This year has been awesome and it's going to open up next year even more. So what's the name of your book that I'm giving out on the giveaway? What's the name of the book, Charles? So
the book is called Investing 101. It's a book that is actually kind of like a hybrid between just a lot of my thoughts, a lot of my views on investing and personal finance, but also we took a lot of the information that's in our Investing 101 course. So anything that you would learn in that course, you're going to learn in this book. So we are selling that course for $100, but if you buy the book, it's going to cover everything that you need to learn in that. So it's going to talk about different index funds. It's going to talk about what a stock is. It's going to talk about all the different market sectors. It's going to talk about what a big cap company is, what a small cap company is, and talk about everything you need to know about just stocks and investing from a fundamental level to get you started, get you on the ground, get you off the ground.
All right, you guys, you already know it's on Amazon, but for 2 lucky winners today, 2, not 4, my bad, 2 lucky winners, I'm going to personally buy the book and send it to your house. So what I want you to do in the comments after the video clears, put your city and your state and why you want the book. I love this Christmas giveaway. It makes me have fun. And again, someone asked how to join the group. Tyrone, again, it's membership at toddcapital.com.
Capitaltodd.com.
Membership at capitaltodd.com. I'm going to type it in right now. Because if not, I'm going to mess it up.
Or you can always go to the website. If you go to the website, you can go to the contact tab, or you can go to the Todd Capital Investment Club tab. There's so many ways you can join the club. But yeah, so the book is, I feel like the book is more of a mindset book than even just an investing book. So I talk a lot about investing, and that's just like you're going to already get a lot of content on investing. But then I also talk about frugality. I'll talk about why 2-parent families are important. That's debatable. People like to argue that, but that's just one of my key principles. My next book's actually probably going to be on just family. But
I have a conservative book I want to write, but I don't want to get tarred and feathered. So.
So yeah, we talk about a lot of different things on that book. I feel like it encompasses all of my views and opinions in regards to 10X. Like everything that has made up this whole last year is in that book.
For sure. Like, listen, I'm gonna say this, and I think it's a valiant point. Is I will say when Barack Obama got in office, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, baby, the Obamas, the magic Obamas." And trust me, I voted the first time around for them. I'm not gonna lie, but I think what happens is we have two kind of concepts here. When Donald Trump got in, it was like, wait a minute. This is like, whether you think he's respectable or not, this is the son of somebody son of a multi-millionaire. And again, you're seeing money be powerful, and then you're also seeing community be powerful. Obama kind of rode the wave of community, right? And then you have the wave of money. And I want people to be able to understand that in this society, this is an asset-based society. Do you have income producing assets? Glendon Cameron talks about it. A lot of people talk about it. You see a lot of 80-year-olds going back to work. You see a lot of senior citizens working at McDonald's. You see people working at, like I told you guys the other day, I live on the 3rd floor of this luxury apartment facing a lake. I had a lady deliver my groceries to the 3rd floor. I always tip like $10, $12 because, I'm like, I just didn't want to leave the house. I'm working right now. And this lady was literally, could be no younger than 67 years old, maybe 70. And imagine her taking all my groceries up the stairs. I was like, hold on, girl, let me give you another $5. I feel bad. But the thing what I'm trying to get y'all to understand is, like, investing is this future, right? Somebody asked me, am I doing the show on Apple? I already told y'all I'm going to do a show on Apple. We're going to do a whole show about it. I'm trying to get Sub-Zero and a few other tech people to come on and do a panel. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about on this channel, but I just want y'all to open up that mindset. That's the real big changer. And like, Charles, there's something I always say on this channel, the top 20%, they shaking and moving. Now, what is the top 20%? That's people making over $65,000 a year, individuals, they call them yuppies. But there's several books I can name off where they're investing, they're buying rentals, and they're getting married, and they attend religious activities once a week. So the top 20% are still doing what they do. So your decision at this point has to be, do I want to sit here with no skills and struggle, or do I want to go ahead and elevate myself? And the choice is always yours. No one's holding you back from that.
So before you move on, because we were talking politics, really quickly, one of my favorite quotes in the Rich Dad Poor Dad series, and this is one of his later books, he talks about how, this isn't a bad thing, but he talks about, and I think actually the term poor dad is actually kind of improper. I think it should be kind of rich dad, middle class dad. And so what's interesting is he makes the distinction that Barack Obama is kind of like the middle class dad / poor dad, in that he has all this education and he's expecting the government to take care of him at the end of his life, versus Donald Trump, who's kind of the rich dad, who is more real estate focused, more business focused, more passive income focused. And I just thought that was very interesting because you have that distinction. And what I've noticed is that I put this quote out a few days ago where it said that entrepreneurship creates systems that break the curse of poverty. There's this young kid, he has a t-shirt company, and he started the t-shirt company. He's like 12 years old. He made $10,000 in 1 month. If you make $10,000 in 1 month at 12 years old, imagine what he can do as he progresses and grows that business. And so I'm super pro entrepreneurship, super pro business ownership as the equalizer in America. So that's one thing I wanted to say. The last thing I want to say, just in regards to capitalism in America, is Patrick Bet-David always talks about how there's this one benefit in America, and it's not all these different government benefits that we get. It's not food stamps, WIC, all that stuff. He said the benefit of America that everybody misses out on is capitalism. Is being able to come here and start your own business. You can't, not from my knowledge, I'm not sure if you can do that in other countries, but if we're not participating in the capitalist and entrepreneurship system, we're missing out on a lot of money. And that's why what I wanted to say earlier when we were talking about skills is like, yeah, you have your full-time job with your skills, but you should be using your full-time job. You should be using the skills on your full-time job after your full-time job to really be making money. Because you could potentially double your salary just in doing consulting work outside of your job at the full rate. Whatever your job pays you, you're worth 3 times that. Because what they do is they take that $40 they pay you and they bill you out at 120. They keep 40 of that 120, and then another 40 of that goes to pay off the overhead in the business, and then you get paid that other 40. And so you could be out in the market capturing that 120 for yourself, which is then going to allow you to invest. So you don't have to invest $100 a month, which will allow you to do all these different things that allow you to rapidly grow your wealth outside of your 9 to 5, which hopefully end up bringing you from that 9 to 5.
No, sir. Listen, here's the thing. There was an article and it was talking about um, out of like 600,000 immigrants a year, like at least, I think it said at least 25,000 of them start a business. Like their first year, like when they figure out the paperwork to go to the office and get the LLC, they go do it. Like, and I'm just telling y'all, people like, and everybody's like, well, everybody's not built to build a business, Erica. True. But guess what? Okay, I'm gonna give a shout out to Andre here real quick. Owner be owned, people. Like literally, you can own investments in stocks, investments in Black Sea Fund Group, Todd Capital. You can own rental properties. There's a ton of things you can do that don't require you to be a business owner, but give you the freedom of having a asset income producing lifestyle, right? Like AM1 out of California, out there in Oakland, I'm gonna visit. He talks about, people talk about Asian supremacy, and he's like, I hate that word. It really is just resource supremacy. If somebody comes to your town and buys up what makes money, how are you complaining?
Right.
So
I'm one of the things I really don't like is this everybody's not supposed to mentality. I hear it all the time. People say, well, college isn't for everybody. Marriage isn't for everybody. Starting a business isn't for everybody. Well, struggle isn't for anybody. And so we're purposely choosing to struggle because it's like you don't want to do what's difficult. I don't believe that it's not for everybody. Like you got to do some stuff that's hard to get what you really want in life. Otherwise, you're going to struggle and you don't get to blame anybody else but for your struggle but yourself. And I'm tired of hearing of it. I'm tired of hearing people say like
what about the average guy? What about the poor man? I'm like,
it's ridiculous.
He's got choices.
I'm so tired of it. I'm tired of it because what you'll see immigrants who come here and they do what they hate, and that liberates them to do what they love. And I'm seeing it a lot in the Nigerian community where they came here, they got the degree that matters, and now they're all starting businesses. Now they're like, okay, Dad, I became an engineer. Okay, Dad, I became a nurse. Okay, Dad, I became a doctor. Now I want to rap. Right, exactly.
Well, I mean, come to Houston. That's what I want. Right. I would challenge you to come to Houston and see how dope and big the Nigerians are just dominating Houston.
Right. But the crazy part about it is it's not a race thing. It's not a group thing. It's a mindset thing. That's one thing I always try to tell people is you have to shape your mindset. You can't have this thinking that it's like, oh, that's not what I want to do. Like, well, marriage is what you need to do. Okay. I don't care if that's what you don't want to do. It's hard. It's not easy. Sometimes I don't like that woman, but I know that there's a lot more benefits to me being with her than me not being with her. I know there's a lot more benefits to me going and getting a degree that's in demand than me getting a degree that's just fun. I know there's a lot more benefit to me starting a business than me just working a job and complaining that the job doesn't pay me enough. So it's like a lot of these things are just solutions to things people complain about.
Or the making more money. When I sit here on this channel, I go, hey, Salesforce folks are making like $45 an hour, right? Just, basics starting. People are like, oh, that ain't a lot of money. Okay, if half of America is making $30,500 a year, that's beautiful money. Let's keep it 100. Getting yourself to 60. If you can double your income by getting a certification, and many companies are looking for you. Like I've been telling everybody here in Austin, Texas, they literally have the Austin Community College is putting signs, bandit signs out saying, we will give away network administrator for free. Like we are so short on students. For free, you can come here. And so you'll see a lot of Hispanic kids who were working in restaurants go get those degrees. See all these people. It's like skills is the name of the game, y'all. And it really isn't a race thing. It's a mindset thing. Like I'll just give you the story of my friends here in Austin. Like I have a lot of friends who take 6 months off around last year, a couple years ago. A bunch of them were just 30, 31, 32. And everybody's like, how are you taking 6 months off? They've been making 100,000 or 120,000 every year since college. And their career field is in demand in an in-demand city. Some companies like Samsung are even giving people 6 months like, hey, you can take a leave of absence, but we expect you to be back at work in August. Because that's the difference in having an in-demand thing. Like even Glendon Cameron says one time some guy got mad, a nurse, a esthetician, I don't know how to say it properly, and basically quit the job right then and there, getting on, and called another hospital, and they were like, yeah, we'll take you. So, I mean, I think people are really kind of, this whole jobs are just over broke. No, your job is just over broke. There are jobs out there paying $100,000 a year, just not yours. Okay. So, there's a ton of people comments. Hold on. Thank you, Andre Hafter, for posting how to get a membership. Julio said you're awesome. Thank you, Julio. What else? I see you guys in here. This is so good. Thank you. CNN said, I immigrated to this country. The infrastructure for business here is great. High Def said, this is great information. I want to learn how to build my wealth by investing. Jabraz said, the speed of change will eventually force the majority of people to be contractors that will embrace it to thrive. Now, there's something I was saying I really would love us to get into. You've ever seen WeWork and Regis offices?
Mm-hmm.
I want to own one of those here in Austin so bad, because what's happening is a lot of times those guys, some of the people I've gone to the WeWork here office here in Austin, they literally, this guy's paying $300 a month for a hot seat or whatever. The company actually gave him a stipend because they were trying to convince people to work from home remotely. So Dell was giving people $7,000 so they can get their home office up to standard. Now imagine taking that money and getting an office at WeWork for $500, and you got your own little cubicle office, glass door type deal. And that's what I see a lot of things going to change to, because it's cheaper for them. They don't have to keep this big office. It's something I've been seeing, and I've talked to Dre and some other people about it, but I think that's a big next step. So anyway, but I don't want to keep you here all night. I promised you an hour. I don't want your wife beating my ankles.
This is fun. I feel like we don't even talk about the fundamentals of what we do anymore. we just start talking about issues.
Be like, what you think about this? I literally wanted to do a line of shirts that says "Keeping America Great," but I think they already trademarked it for 2020. But I was like, yo, like when I talk about what I wanted to say in the percent, and I want you guys to boo me in the comment section. But basically, the thought is my family's owned businesses since the 1940s. My grandpa had juke joints. The building is still standing where the juke joint is in North Carolina, across from this field. My grandma had a boarding house. I mean, there's just so many different levels of this conversation I could go with people. So even when people say, oh, businesses, black people, and I'm like, I can pinpoint back to 1930s if you want me to. And then I can go all the way back to 1890s where my family owned property and farms in North Carolina. So it's one of those things where the freedom is in ownership. The freedom is in like controlling your destiny and not having to beg somebody for an opportunity.
Right.
So.
And the cool thing about it, it's so funny. I'm listening to the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, Who Took My Money? And I remember I actually took this from Money Maydoux. He said that he didn't just read Rich Dad Poor Dad. He didn't just read Cash Flow Quadrant. He didn't just read Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. He read everything. And I kind of didn't want to read everything because I thought it would be kind of repetitive, but it's not. There's little nuggets and little gems in each book in the series. So I've kind of committed to reading a bunch. Also, what did I read before that? I read Retire Young, Retire Rich. Very, very good book. He talks about using passive income to retire yourself from your job so you can use your 9 to 5 hours to get rich. Instead of using your 9 to 5 hours to commute to a job, to then just burn time, using all that time and resources to get rich. Great book, but I forgot where I was going with that.
It's okay. Have you ever read Alternative Answer? It's a red book, Bob Rice. What was game changing and encouraged me to write books at that point was I read the book and it was like Yale, 94% of all the money Yale has isn't in the stock market. It's actually in business to business loans and companies and equities and all this other stuff. I mean, like it just blew my mind. But so think this $1 billion Yale has, it's not from stock market, it's from all these other things that I've been talking about. Well, then I go deeper into the book and I'm like, okay, what are the steps I need, to get bigger? I was already doing four of the 7 steps. I was already peer-to-peer lending. I was already investing in farmland and timber. I was already doing these things, and it just confirmed that for me. It was like, boom. This is what the top 20% in America, and it's a dry book. If you go section by section, it's dry. But that's sometimes what Americans love, everything to be funny and go. It's got to be laughing, make me laugh, and I'm like, you're going to miss some of the best stuff out here.
And that's where I was going with that. Is in that book he talks about starting a business while you work your job, and a lot of people will say like, how do you have a business and have a job? And the answer is like, how could I not? Like, I have to have a job. But then I know the business is what's going to save me. So I have to build a business. It's like they help each other get to where it needs to go. And you have more than enough time. If you have time to watch the next episode of what's on Netflix, you have time to build a business. I was listening to Dame Dash, and he was saying, like, if you only have 3 hours a night, you need to just commit to that 3 hours, no distractions, no time that's going to be wasted. You're just going to use 3 hours a day to focus on your business and to do everything in your business. And what you'll realize is that's probably more than enough time, because most of us that work 8 hours on a job, we're not really working 8 hours. We can still get everything we need done. So you don't need as much time to start a business and run a business as you think. You can do it in much less time than you think. So it's like there's really no excuse for anybody here to not be capitalizing on their skills that they already use on their job, to then build a course, write a book, consult with people. Like, there's so much wealth just in the time between 5 and 9, or even your weekends. Like, I don't do 2-day weekends. I always have a Saturday thing going, and then I just maximize my Sunday, because I realized I was wasting a lot of money hanging out on Saturday and Sunday. So then if I don't hang out on Saturday and Sunday, I maximize my Sunday, which then still saves me money. So I feel like there's just
Sunday fun day.
Yeah, exactly. Sunday fun day.
Sunday church, then you go eat with your friends after lunch after church. Then you go do, for me, I go range day. I go shoot guns on Sunday. I get it all in. I get it in.
It's like you feel like you deserve it too. It's like you really earned it if you're doing it that day.
Oh man, thank you guys for super chatting. Cal Phillips gave a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Goldie Smith gave a $10 super chat. Thanks, Erica, for the great knowledge shared tonight. Here's the crazy part. There's some good stories. I'm gonna share it in a second. Hold on a second, Keith. Here's the crazy part. Like, scaling and growing your business. Like, I'll put it to you this way. I've been like throwing things against the wall for YouTube, right? I know a little bit of knowledge, keep throwing against the wall. And my friend said, you're not taking your own advice, Erica. You need to increase your skill so that you can increase your channel. So when you're making 10 to 15K a month, this isn't a humble brag. This is just being honest. And I was like, they're like, well, Linda Cameron and other people said, well, you ain't built your business to make 20, 30K a month. And I was like, oh, damn. And what ended up happening is the mindset change, and I went and bought Vid Summit. Now, it's got 56 videos in it, Charles. I've only watched 5 so far. But the things I've already implemented, I had like surprise money come in, surprise sales come in. Because it's just like, when you hit your head on the level of boom, you need to press yourself, and you need people to keep you accountable. That's why I like doing these with all our group of people that we know. Because sometimes when I'm sitting back, I'm like, I'm doing great. And then you're like, you see, you could be doing better. You have to be honest with yourself. So I'm going to read what Keith said, and this is very important because I think this is a lot of people's story. He said, my great-great-grandmother owned a store. My great-grandmother owned a gas station on my mom's side. My dad's side owned 430 acres of land. Forward to the day, none of it is in our family. None of it. Now, with that mindset, I am a true believer in you have to be teaching the kids, because it's somewhere in those generations you can lose it, like the value of something. Like, my nephew has a lawn care business, and everybody be like, oh, that's so silly, Erica. Well, one of my uncles he so much values this work hustle of my 12-year-old nephew. My nephew goes out, my mom purchased him a riding lawnmower. So guess what happened? People in our community gave him like 20 different lawns. So he has a whole schedule. He has this whole book. He has all this money in a safe in his room. And it's funny because here's this 12-year-old kid with T-shirts. We literally bought him like 20 different T-shirts that say Jalen's Lawn Care Company. And teachers were like, well, Jalen wears these shirts all the time. And we're like, he literally, ma'am, has a lawn care company. And what I'm learning out of this whole situation is my nephew has never seen me work a job. My nephew's always seen me either own a coffee shop in North Carolina or own my businesses here in Texas. So the mindset is already there. Right. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, it's up to like the kind of joke that Eric Thomas says, his father didn't graduate high school. His grandfather didn't graduate high school. The minimum people only expected of him was to graduate high school. Well, he went to college, and then he said, no, I'm going to go get a doctorate degree. So his son knows the minimum is at least college. Right? Yep. And so I think it all plays into it. Keith, that's a very common story. I'm just going to keep it 100. That's a very common story. That's a lot what's happening in South Carolina right now. But you can change that. You can change that this year if you want. So
I think that's the most important thing, is because if you've never seen it, you think it's not possible. And then you learn the history about people who not only did it, but also did it when it was probably more difficult to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's that's the reason for my podcast, is to show people like, hey, we've been sold this dream that it's not possible. We've been sold this dream that it's hard or it's expensive or it's not for you.
Over and over. Yeah.
And so I went out there and I found a bunch of people who have not only done it, but they did it like really young. I was watching Charm City. I was like, they're only like 28.
Yes. And they started at 23.
Doing amazing things.
It's in the power of marriage. And let me put it this way. So I've done like, at this point, closer to 5,000. I know it's 4,700, something crazy number. But what happens is I talk on the phone to a lot of men. And what happens is the mind is the battlefield. I know not everybody's going to love Joyce Meyer, but she wrote a book called The Mind is a Battlefield. And it really is. So if you're married and all you want to do is complain and be down about your spouse in your life, that's going to manifest itself. But if you sit here and go, you know what, me and my wife are going to do this. We're going to go to these conferences. We're going to buy properties. We're going to work together. Then you have a love story like Hood Estates. Then you have a love story like some of these people you see out here who have hundreds of properties because the mind is a battlefield and you get to choose the battle. You know, say what you will. I've gone out to malls here and I've gone out and some lady grabbed her purse and guess what? I'm laughing like, I probably got more money than you, girl, bye. Like, you know, you have to choose the battle. And I know people are like, oh, Erica, you don't understand. When you go to work and you got crazy coworkers, choose the battle. You know, listen to some podcasts, listen to some other stuff, you know, something, you know, you have to choose the battle. And so if you want to 10X your next year, that's how. So, sorry, I see. Thank you guys so much. Again, bring on the likes, you guys. Thank you so much, Andre Hatchett. Thank you so much. I see you guys. Ben the bartender. What's the name of that? Okay, Erica. Alternative answer book or sorry. Yale's endowment. Yep. Oh, thank you, Nicole's bot. Wait a minute. I had to reread that. I have one. Okay, thank you. Okay. Let me see. What else? Somebody said I could listen all night. Thank you. So, my coworkers make $100,000 a year, and some of them are miserable hens, but they paid though. You guys crack me up. Okay, exactly what I did. I got skills in technical writing, got paid well, took a year off to travel, worked for Google. Now I have a course that teaches other about technical writing. Thank you, Kimoy Matters. Thank you so much.
This is one of the things. I don't mean to interject here, but
no, you're fine. Do it.
I feel like it's so important to take your skills that you learn on your 9 to 5 and give them back to the community. Just because I feel like it kind of closes this gap. I know Erica doesn't believe in the gap, but
we have a little wealth gap. It's like $68,000, y'all. $68,000. Come on, right. We can make it.
But in me building Todd Capital, I've had to improve a bunch of people's lives. So I've had to teach them about investing. I've had to educate them financially. I've had to bring them to people who have done what they think is impossible. And so in you building your company in your off hours, you can't just think about it in terms of I'm making money so I can take vacations and I can buy sneakers. It's like you're literally changing your community. You're literally improving things for your people. And it's worth a lot more than $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. It's worth millions. And so if you're somebody who's only going to you're going to go to school, get an education, and you're just going to go to a CPA firm and then work and help make rich people more rich, that's backwards to me. I mean, if you're going to do that to put food on the table, great. But you should also be doing something to elevate your community, whether it's in your off hours, whether it's via a podcast, whether it's through, and it doesn't even have to be free. You can get paid to do you can get paid to improve your community. In fact, you should be getting paid. You shouldn't be doing anything for free. But what's going to happen is it's better for you to be doing it because your heart's in the right place than somebody who's just doing it for the buck. It's two different things because you're going to coach them. You're going to help them get to the next level. It's like my mom. She doesn't just do taxes. She gets people into homes. She gets people with their credit straight. She takes it to the next level. It's not just, here's your refund. It's a deeper relationship. You're going to get that when you work with people in your community. I think we rob ourselves and our community by taking our skills and just giving them to corporate America. Like, do that to make money, but then also you should be contributing your resources and your intellect and your knowledge back to your community, just like what Erica does. And what's really crazy is Erica she teaches, and she's always elevating and sharing people, but she wins because of it. So it's like, instead of being selfish and saying, this is all my knowledge, these are all my resources, she shares that with other people, and then she wins. And so if we have a community that's doing that, then everybody wins and everybody benefits. It just creates this this abundance effect that really should be existing.
That's 100, y'all. Clap on it. Yes. Listen, I mean, Charles' mama does taxes, y'all. No, nah. I mean, here's the thing. Here's what's so crazy is people are so short term thinking. The fact that, okay, yeah, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years, but year 3 is when it went, right? Year 3 is when it went through the roof. Now we're at year 5, almost 6, and it's like 3x on stacks on stacks on stacks, right? We have 3 legitimate streams of businesses here off of this one channel, you know, without tooting my own horn, which I'll do that in January. I'm gonna act a fool in January to pay these taxes. Nah. But I think what people don't want to wait.
No.
JG Wentworth, give me my money now. 3, we gotta let go of that tax refund mentality, right? Like people are overpaying and then they're not even investing. Like they're getting the money in January, March, April. Like right now, tax lien season. This is what's so funny. In the group, in the private Facebook group, we have people going, who bought Colorado tax liens? See, everybody's wrapped up in October and Halloween and lattes and Thanksgiving. There's people in our group buying tax liens right now. That's where their money went. And it's just one of those things.
I think
they miss it.
One thing that I want to touch on with the tax refund mentality isn't even the overpaying. It's sometimes the under earning. And there's a lot of people who they know that if they earn X amount of money, they can get the earned income tax credit.
Ooh, yes.
All these different things. So instead of being out here trying to make as much money as they can throughout the year, they can make 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, but they're holding back so they can get that quick 7,000 for doing nothing. But it doesn't even make sense. It's like, why would you trade 100,000 for 7,000?
Charles, I never believed it till I saw it. But go ahead, finish. Sorry.
So I guess, I mean, to them, it's like you're getting 7,000 for doing nothing. So the ROI is infinite, but you can't really look at it in return in regards to ROI. It's kind of like an opportunity cost. So you're missing out on the 100,000 to make 7,000. So the opportunity cost there is about $93,000, or actually it's $100,000 because it's the actual cost of the next beneficial decision. So that was just kind of.
Listen, y'all knew I worked at H&R Block for 3 years. I saw it all the time. People quit jobs halfway in the year, and I'm like, why? That would be a reason. I even have a family member, and she don't ever watch this channel, but if she want to get at me, she know what to do. She was making $40K, but she has a skill, and this community college needed the skill. So she went and taught this class, doubled her paycheck, Charles, was making $90,000, $92,000 a year. When she had to pay taxes, she was like, oh, I quit. And everybody in our family's like, so you're going to just have 40K income, but you got to understand the mentality. She has a paid off house, car's paid off. I don't need to work that hard. I ain't paying more taxes. So it's even at a person who, this is just extra cake, you know, cake on the icing for your lifestyle. They don't even think that. So T Green asked, thank you for the super chat, T Green. They are studying finance. Should they switch to a higher paying major? And I have an idea on that, but you go first.
Whenever somebody tells me that they're studying finance, I always tell them to study accounting. A wise person once told me that you can work in finance with a degree in accounting, but you can't work in accounting with a degree in finance. And so I always tell people, some people listen, finance or accounting is very difficult, but that's just always been my advice. I think that having a degree in finance can help if you're going to get an MBA, or it can help if you're doing what I'm doing, which is basically making money as a business owner and an investor. And that's one thing I had to come to the realization is, like, having a degree in finance, like, yeah, it can take you certain places, but sometimes it's just going to take you to financial sales. And they're going to make you be a financial advisor, which is basically a financial salesman. They're going to make you sell insurance, which is an insurance salesman. They're going to make you sell real estate, which is a salesman. And one of the reasons why I didn't really care for that too much is I feel like the barrier entry was too low. And so I wasn't really happy doing a job with somebody who just came from selling shoes at Foot Locker, or who just came from selling cars at CarMax. And nothing against those jobs, but I didn't go to college to do that. Like, I could have not gone to college and done that. So I think that the real bang for your buck that you're going to get out of a degree in finance is going to be the money that you make for yourself. It's going to be the money that you make in putting together real estate deals, or putting together business deals, or putting together your own investment strategies. I think that's where you're really going to make it. If you're expecting to make a lot of money with a finance degree and a job, you're going to be hard pressed for that. And that goes, I have a friend, Wale. while he has a degree in finance, he makes most of his money trading stocks on the side. So that's my take.
I was going to say, it's not the degree, it's how you use it. So I got a business degree, and I still have friends in engineering who are like, that's a waste. You know, blah, blah. Like, you still came out and got technical certs. And I was like, no, it's not a waste. I still learn lots of things. It's how you use it. And I think what our society is not, what people are failing to realize is internships matter. You know, where you're applying yourself matters. Don't move back to your hometown. I know everyone hates hearing that. You have to, you can't tell me you're going to get degrees in finance and business, but then you're going back to a town of 5,000 people. Like, unless you have some master plan, like, I need you to go get a job offer outside your comfort zone. And a lot of people, like right now, I've been telling this story for a while now, but literally I had friends, their parents are like, oh, can I move back to Fort Bragg? They're like, there's no job for what you want to do. So move to Raleigh, move to Charlotte. So many people say, oh, they're just going to get an apartment. No, several of my friends got $55,000 brand new townhouses in Raleigh. Their parents put $3,000 down, moved them in. Now people say, oh, Erica, my parents ain't got $3,000. My parents ain't got $3,000. But think about that. These same people I'm talking about now, they're on their second and third and fourth houses, and they have rentals. So they rented that original townhouse out. I mean, you know, her mortgage, two of my friends' mortgages were like $300. So you're going to either send your kid to Raleigh, where they're going to pay $1,000 rent because they're around engineers, or they're going to pay $300 and rent a room out to their friends, because that's what a bunch of them did.
Smart.
It's up here, man. It's up here. So I ain't gonna hold you all night. We don't went over your time. But Made5 said $4.99 super chat. Awesome broadcast. You know, Made5, I really would love to get you, Nita, Kendra, and Charles on a panel talking about investing in opportunity zones with Khalil. I would love to do that if y'all get a chance. I mean, I was gonna start it off by talking bad about bigger pockets, but I said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna flip it. We're gonna talk about how to get an opportunity out of it. So I'm gonna do that, but I don't know when. I think that'd be a fun panel.
It'd be a cool panel. I would like to have that conversation. I didn't know that Kendra was so militant.
That's her. She went to a historically black college in North Carolina. You know, so, but you can be militant and still be super professional and still win out here and do all that. So, okay. So you guys, as much as I love the comments, you guys are doing so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love all y'all. I'm gonna answer Joshua Hill's question, and that's it. There's 150 of y'all in here. Hit the like button. Joshua Hill asked me, what are my thoughts on affiliate marketing to boost income? Again, Joshua, 10x your life. What is the you know, again, I just said it with earlier about those t-shirts I wear. Okay, I'm an affiliate person for those t-shirts. I don't own those t-shirts. You guys bought 1,000 of those t-shirts. I've gotten a nice check off of it. You know, several of the courses, the trucking course, any of the things you see me talking about, I'm getting some kickback, but I'm not choosing whack things. I'm choosing things that I believe in. I'm choosing things I would use. I bring only hitters on the channel. Like even today I did, it's called the Slow and Low series, or the Classy Climb interviews. If you go check out the playlist for it, everybody on that playlist, I've been on the phone with here or there. Like I literally had the guy call me and go, hey, I did not know you were investing in Detroit. I grew up in Detroit. This guy's a multimillionaire in Florida now with the business. He was like, y'all tell me what y'all doing up there. What y'all need? What kind of investments do you have? Do you have any multifamily? And I'm like, whoa, hold on, dude. Let me call you back. Let me take on the notes, what you just talked to me about, and I'll hit you back up. And I just believe, yes, you can make a lot of money affiliate marketing, but again, is it growing your network? Are you talking to people you believe in? Are you talking about something you believe in? And because I do that, I have opportunities to reach back and talk to people like that. So
I feel like the goal in a lot of ways shouldn't even be so much money, it should be taking action. I was listening to Grant Cardone, and he was talking about how like a lot of people, they focus when they're in sales is they focus on closing. And so they focus on just that event instead of focusing on all the different things that it takes to get to the close. So all the different phone calls, all the different follow-ups, all the different funnels, just getting in touch, making phone calls, and just keeping that action up. And if we focus more so on the action, the money comes. And so the question shouldn't be like, oh, which investment platform should I invest in? It should be like, I'm investing in this platform. It worked this way. It didn't work in that way. I'm doing this affiliate marketing company. It worked this way. It didn't work in that way. And that's what I did this year. Is I just did everything. There's nothing that was off the limits. I have a podcast, a blog, an investment club for real estate. I have all those different things. I have a job. I have a job on the weekends. I have everything that I'm doing. I'm constantly doing something. And so I have a consulting company. And so I find that, like, if you don't have the success you want, take more action. Always take action. Always say yes until you can't afford to say, like, until you have the ability to say no. One of the things I realized is somebody always said, like, man, it's going to be tough to get Charles on the phone one of these days. And it didn't make sense to me until I started realizing, like, how many people try to talk to me throughout the day.
Yes.
And it's not so much like I'm big time, it's that I can't get to it all. So it's like now you have to put people in place, but that came from taking action. And it didn't even take 5 years. It took me 1 year of solid action. And I mean, I'm going to keep doing that year after year. So then hopefully I can be at a certain place in 5 years. But it's like there really should be no should I's. It should be I've done. And this is what happened.
You know, key facts there. Like whenever people ask me about building funnels and all that stuff, more action is the funnel. Taking more action is the funnel. The things that he's doing is building up it's like a whirlwind. It's like a whirlwind of attention and people focusing on you and like, okay, what do y'all have going on over there? I didn't know this was happening. Tell me more. What are y'all doing in Detroit? Are y'all buying an apartment in Detroit? Like literally his phone call cracked me up because I'm like, this is what I've wanted. Like when I got my real estate license several years ago, I realized I did not want to chase people. I wanted people to chase me. And say what you will about that. But I was like, I want to be a person who's in place and has deals and the phone calls come to me. So, you know, you guys have seen me raise my prices all year long. So I have my prices probably the highest they've been in a long time. And I still had 10 phone calls the other day because people were like, I'm ready to do this and do this next year. So let's get on the phone. But you have to create that demand. You have to create that action pattern, that whole system. I mean, I love y'all, but I'm going to read this last super chat and then I'm going to let you finish. Malik Vanderpool that I met at FidCon. That's in DC. I hope to see you at next FidCon. $4.99 super chat. Great show as usual, E. The Todd Millionaire podcast is dope. Awesome.
Man, I think that's one of the big parts about taking action is you never know who's watching. Like I've put the podcast out there and I'm always surprised at who listens and who watches. I think to kind of circle back to what I said in the beginning is like the actions that you take create derivative opportunities. And by you doing affiliate marketing or you're investing in the stock market, you're going to find that there's other things out there that you could be doing. And so like, just get busy doing. That's one thing. And the next thing was I kind of do the same thing. Like I'm not a salesperson, but what I found is I had to create a brand that brought people to me. And that's kind of what you did. And you do that by creating content, by putting things out there, by networking with other people who are doing cool things and then cross-branding and collaborating and all that stuff. And you get there by taking more action. I'm sure that your show now is a little bit different than it was before. I remember you used to have that really cool banner at the bottom. What happened to the banner?
Oh, YouTube took it away, man.
Oh, really?
I mean, I could do it, but I would have to I'd have to do like editing after the show. Okay. YouTube's a hater. But you know what I am bringing back? I'm bringing back the whiteboard. So I have office space here in Austin. And I'm like, I have this giant whiteboard, mobile whiteboard. And I'm like, should I bring back those videos? And everybody's like, yeah, bring back those old whiteboard videos. So, you know, it just encourages me to work out because I don't want to have the full angle and y'all be talking about me. So I'm like, don't you worry. I'm going to be right. Don't you worry.
I think 2019 is going to be awesome. We're only, a year, seeing how much has happened in a year, and then kind of see what's going to happen as we start stacking the wood, taking more actions, doing more collaborations. My goal, honestly, is to hopefully partner up with a lot of these other funds that are popping up. So Hatchet Holdings, Black Seed Fund is like, I want us to invest in the same area because then we can really drive market values, but then responsibly drive market values. So I think that's like my thing is how can we take over a whole town? Like, I'm not just about this dollar stuff. I'm about like, what can we do that's going to create a legacy? And that's why I like Detroit so much is you can go to Detroit, you can buy all the commercial real estate and you can buy all the residential real estate and you can buy that school over there. So then all the things people complain about not having, we have now. Oh, we have our own school. Oh, we have our own hospital. Oh, we have our own corner store. We have our own grocery store. We have our own, all these different things because I feel like that's when you start community building and that's when you start creating that new quote Black Wall Street that doesn't exist right now.
See, Charles, I was gonna close the show, but you done hit a point. I gotta hit it, you guys. I'm sorry making this show so long, but he just said something so important. When you go in there as a group, and Grandview Acquisitions will be there, baby. When we go in as a group, you can buy up streets. Now, here's something that's been happening in Texas. People, Austin's busy. It's expensive. People go to the town up and up and up. So Georgetown and Round Rock are now the third fastest growing town in the United States. But what happens is people go into Georgetown and have created whole breweries. They've started whole coffee shops, whole roasters, because why? It was cheap. They could buy up everything in that small town. And some people even going further out. Taylor, Florence, they even did a Texas Monthly magazine issue about people going all the way to Lubbock, going down south. You see it on Hallmark Channel. People going to these small towns, buy up all the commercial buildings before it's popular, and now they're the main landlord in the town, and they affect how city council votes. They affect how things roll out because they have big names. Same thing with North Carolina. There are several black families that are very wealthy who what they did is as the town was dying, they bought up all the buildings downtown. Now, what you see is happening in Fayetteville. We have a $60 million baseball stadium being built. 2 black families that held out the longest are getting fat checks now because they held on to those buildings and they've been renting them out. They ain't been the most beautiful buildings, but they've been renting them out. And if y'all could ever get that concept, like Todd just hit on some things that I have been talking about. Like, let's go one town over and buy up all the stuff in the town. Right. Let's just go to Hoover, Alabama and buy it up, even though it's expensive. Let's just go a little bit outside of Hoover. Okay, let's go to Huntsville, Alabama. Let's go over here. Let's go buy up this little town while you can. Like
the emphasis on let's.
Yeah. Or even when people are like, oh, the recession, Erica. Great. Let some of these people let these commercial buildings go. I'll buy the commercial building up and rent out to a tenant for less. Like if the rent in the area is $1,000, rent it out for $200 for 6 months so they can get started and keep the business going. Like I'm not gonna go down a rabbit hole, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
I was watching the movie Crazy Rich Asians, and they were talking about how the family became so wealthy because they got to Singapore when it was just a jungle and they built it into what it is now. And so now they're like the biggest landlord. And it was amazing when I realized that the same strategy that I use to make money in stocks is a strategy that I use to make money in real estate, where you get there before it's popping. You get there when they're talking about it. And then as you put more money into it, it's like Greg Parker says, he says that the market that pops is the market that you put money in. It's not the market that everybody's saying is hot. It's the market that you put money in. And so I guess to conclude, oh man,
buy up your block, buy up your street, buy up that area.
What we were talking about earlier is we were saying how like these people, when Apple goes into Austin, like they don't go there just as an Apple move. You have these old dudes that are friends with other old dudes at the country club. Mm-hmm. They're saying, hey, what are you thinking about doing next year? I'm thinking about going to Austin. Like, oh, okay. If you think about going to Austin, let me go ahead and just buy up all the property in Austin before blah, blah, blah. Let me put my company out there too. Let me buy these apartment complexes out there. And it's a concerted effort. It's a team sport. Generational wealth is a team sport. Everything's a team sport. My name is Charles Olgesby, also known as Top Mega Nigga.
He went mic drop. Listen, we'll do another show in the future, but anytime Todd comes on, we do end up talking about all kind of popular topics. But I try to bring out the good stuff. Andre Hatcher's hilarious. He's like, the glow. Somebody put amen, amen, amen. They want to go to VidCon. Come on to VidCon next year. Memphis is cheap, cheap, cheap. It's been cheap. There's a family called check out Memphis Invest. Their family owns 1,000 buildings in Memphis. So, and now they're going into Houston and Dallas. But look, thank y'all so much for y'all been super chatting. I love y'all. Hit the like button, share it with your friends. Again, I'm going to give 2 lucky people Todd Millie's book off Amazon. You know the deal. When the show is over, drop your city, your state, and why you love the book. So look, thank you so much. They're saying great conversation, excellent show. I try to bring the fire. Tell your wife I'm sorry you went late. But everybody, this is Erica Williams, author of Smartphone Millionaire, How to Invest in Real Estate, People, and Businesses from the Palm of Your Hand. Creative Financing and Business Ownership in the back of the book. Don't miss that part. Again, you guys, this is Erica Williams, Classy Clown Blog. Charles, close the audience out.
So I would just say that if you guys saw I had this free consultation for life, I won't do for life, but anybody who wins the book, I will definitely give you a consultation. So you'll get, in addition to the book, we'll get a chance to talk about that book and see what you liked, what you didn't like, and how we can implement some of those things into your life. So if you win the book, email me at charles@capitaltodd.com. Let me know that you won, and we'll set up a time to talk for 15 to 30 minutes. So yeah, you guys can always find out everything we're doing at the website, www.capitaltodd.com. We have the podcast, the Todd Capital Millionaire Podcast. We're on episode 83, on the way to 100, which is going to be an epic episode. We also have the investment club, the investment club for real estate, the investment club for stocks. You can email for stocks membership at capitaltodd.com. For real estate, it'd be property management at capitaltodd.com. On all social media platforms at Todd Millionaire. And I'm just grateful to be able to talk to you guys again. So thanks for having me.
Hey man, thanks for having you. We're gonna in the future pop bottles in California. We're gonna drag Andre out there too. Super Bowl on Andre. So if your Chargers make it to the Super Bowl, Andre, Super Bowl Andre. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for staying out tonight. Have a great night, Charles.
All right, see you.